Are we live? I always feel like, those celebrities on Instagram that spend the first 30 minutes being like, hey guys, are we live? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
As they pat their hair and put on
Right.
makeup
Yeah.
and
My
No, that's
sound's
literally
out.
me.
left their hair 50 times.
Yes. Story of my life. That's going to be the stream. I just want you to know. Hey, so the good news is, how do I move to where I'm visible? Maybe if I do this. Okay. The good news is we're live. The bad news is if you joined when I actually told you to join, you probably had to sit through like 10 minutes of technical difficulties and also listen while I hate on celebrities on Instagram for doing exactly what I just did.
Mhm.
Hi, we are live here to chat about what we watched on TV this week. And according to the description, the woman who made TV great. Here's why that's ironic is we're to a large extent going to be talking about Tenet, which to the best of my knowledge only had like basically one woman in it. And
Two.
oh yeah. Okay, there were two women in it. And I left the movie not knowing either of their names, although I did remember Priya's name. Like, gun to my head, that's the name I would have remembered before I'd remember Kat. Let me introduce my guest. Number one I'm moving you to this corner so you're not overshadowed by the Stage 10 logo. In the lower corner here, there, not covered by the Stage 10 logo, Kate Johnson, you may recall from every week prior to this. And here you may recall from, what was the app I was using prior to this? TV Co. TV Co. And from Slander Entertainment, it's 25% of Slander Entertainment, aka said senpai. I am Cammien Ray, and we're here to talk about a lot of things that are more important than the CW sexifying Jane Austen, but we're to a large extent here to talk about the CW sexifying Jane Austen. What if is there a way to do that? We're just going to go with this for now. Actually, no, maybe I liked this better. There we go. Okay, this is the layout we're going with. You probably saw me pointing in the wrong direction there for a second. We're here now. We made it. So, first and foremost, Kate and Sed, would you like to say hi?
Kate, you can go first.
Oh, now I can't hear Kate anymore. Kate, I can't hear you. What happened? Your volume was just working. Let me make sure it's not a me problem. It's not a me problem. Your volume is just like coming through as blank. Try again. It says it's...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I fixed it. It wasn't me. Okay. While
It was a problem on my
figures
end.
that out. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying it was a problem on my end. Hi.
Hi. So, Kate,
Hi.
what are you most excited to talk about this week? And I'll also say I'm pretty sure there's a delay between us. So if I'm interrupting Kate, it's not because I am rude and interrupt people. It's because there's a delay. I am also rude and interrupt people. That's just not why I'm doing it here tonight. Kate, what are you most excited to talk about this week?
Predictably, Jane Austen. All the Jane Austen things, all three of them that have been announced recently. I will talk Tenet with you, but I didn't actually get a chance to watch it yet. So I will be here, and I may not get a single thing, but I'm here for it.
Here's the thing. I watched Tenet, and I did not at any point in the movie understand what was going on. So you and I are on the same playing field, to be honest. After I saw the movie, I immediately messaged Kate, and I was like, Kate, do you want to watch Tenet?
Cool.
And I made it sound like it was out of the kindness of my heart, but it was really just like, Kate, I'm not going to understand this movie until you explain it to me. So that's why I really need Kate to watch Tenet. Sed's watched Tenet. Sed, what are you most excited to talk about tonight?
I am most excited to talk about...
It's on.
Let me look at my list.
Said made a list.
I made a list.
Look at people being organized. Could never be me.
I am most excited to not
I've
talk
made a
about,
list. I talked to you before.
most excited to talk about Lovecraft Country.
Exciting. So Lovecraft Country is going to pop up in a little segment that I like to call things Cammie should be watching instead of this CW's sexified adaptation of Jane Austen's novels. So stay tuned for that. So here's the organization. Here's the agenda, if you will. If I were the type of person to like make lists and make an agenda, what we would do is first talk about Tenet, because that's like the big piece from this week. We will pitch to you, Kate, why you should watch it. You may have a little bit of an idea of why I want you to watch it, but we'll pitch to you why we should watch it. You're then going to explain to us these 3 mysterious new Jane Austen things that are on the horizon. And then Said is going to conclude it with things that we should be watching instead of that. Does that sound good? Okay, good.
It sounds great.
Looking in the chat, Carrie Johnson says, "What's good, people?" Hey, Carrie. He has joined us. We had some technical issues these last couple weeks. And then back when we were on TV Co, we had some issues getting comments in. So I feel like this is the first time. Like, I feel like a suburban mom at a Thanksgiving table being like, we're finally all in the same place together, guys. So, Carrie, I would also love to hear what you have been watching this week. If it's Jane Austen, you know you have come to the right place. Okay, so starting with Tenet. Said, would you go first, since I'm like a lot sure that what you're going to say about Tenet is going to make more sense than what I say, and explain to Kate why she should watch it.
Okay. First reason you should watch Tenet is because Christopher Nolan. I'm not saying it to say like he's like a god or anything like that. But
if the Bible were not written, he might write it.
But he would make it more complicated than it needs to be, which is what happens in Tenet in most of his movies. But I would say most of his movies are definitely watchable. And
he did Inception.
He did Inception.
Did you watch Inception, Kate?
No.
Fair enough.
But he also did Interstellar. So, I mean, you can't win them all.
I liked Interstellar. I feel like it was like a dumbed down.
I haven't seen that either.
Maybe that's why everybody else doesn't like it. But I felt like Interstellar was like easier for me to follow. Like at one point, I feel like in Interstellar, they like really explicitly told me what was going on, like down to the math. They were like, for every 1 minute, he's here. Many years pass on it, and like really spelled it out so much to the point like it happened. I was like, you guys, for every 1 minute, I get it. He doesn't spell it out for me in Tenet. Like he cut that scene.
So in Tenet, there is a scene where they say there's a character that says that try not to understand what's happening, just let it happen.
I did that. I did that.
That's pretty much all you can do. Mm-hmm. That's the movie. Mm-hmm. Don't try to understand the movie.
Yeah.
Just let it happen.
But like if you do understand it, then like come tell me what happened.
So basically, I'm not going to give away the premise, but basically, there's I won't call it time travel involved, but there's time manipulation involved.
There is time travel involved. Otherwise, I literally did not understand anything at all.
You didn't understand the movie.
Okay.
All right.
there's not time travel, guys. It's like in the middle of the movie, it cut to flash, but it was a glitch. Like
it's easier if you don't say time travel. We'll just put it like that.
It's always easier if you don't say time travel, but that doesn't mean they didn't do it. Me watching like Flash, it's easier if we just say no time travel happens.
No time travel, Barry. Stop.
Yeah, but this was I think easier to understand than the Flash maybe. Easier in the sense that there's still things that are going to confuse you, but how they did it is easier to understand.
You know what would be a really funny segment? Things The Flash and Tenet have in common.
No,
a 5-minute video in which I pitch to you that Tenet and The Flash are the same plot line.
No, they don't. No.
I thought you wanted me to watch this movie.
Exactly.
That's fair enough.
And also,
I was just
maybe I might want to hear what Kate says. Okay. But basically, the important thing about Tenet is that just let it happen and just watch it as it absorb it as it happens. And overall, the acting was great. I would say John David Washington. He's growing on me.
He's very good.
I did not like him in this role as much as say what was the movie, the Spike Lee movie, Black Klansman.
Haven't seen that.
Yeah, good movie. You should watch that one.
Okay.
I think John David Washington comes off more as not necessarily a comedic actor, but he has comedic timing.
In that movie or in this movie?
In that movie. Okay. But he also is like what you consider the straight man. Mm-hmm. But the comedic timing that naturally comes with his acting works for him as an actor. It tried to happen. He tried to do that a few times in this movie, and I don't think it worked. And he was the action star, and I wasn't feeling him as the action star.
Here's the thing that worked for me for his performance. In the character that he plays in this movie is very often supposed to be like confused, is not sure what's going on, like how I felt watching the movie, right? He is the protagonist. He is the person who's like learning about this world, and he interacts with a lot of people who are more familiar with this world and know what's going on, and he's kind of having to learn as he goes, right? Mm-hmm. So he's often in that position. When characters are supposed to be in that position, when they're supposed to be the ones where they are a main character, but they're having to learn about everything for the first time. My cat is making a bunch of noise in the background, but that's nothing new. Okay. When they're supposed to be learning about everything for the first time and be kind of like, I'll say clueless, but just like in the sense that like this is new, that often can come across as like really annoying. Mm-hmm. It can, like, because if it's not paced right, then the audience has figured things out before the main guy or girl has figured things out, and you're like, oh my god, like keep up, like you don't have to be this clueless. Or they figure it out too fast and it's unrealistic, or just the process of figuring it out, it's like, oh, they always look like a deer in the headlights. I was really confused. The way he absorbed the confusion and believably was like he was ahead of the audience. But was still like relatable to the audience, and it felt like he was kind of guiding us through it, which is really well done. And I won't attribute all of that to writing, mostly because I don't know what was going on. I think it was really his performance made a role that could, in the hands of somebody else, easily be insufferable, not insufferable.
So his co-star,
Robert Pattinson.
I was about to call him Twilight. He's moved beyond
Edward
that.
Cullen, the vampire.
He's moved beyond that. I'm giving the man his props.
Yep.
I was looking to Robert Pattinson's character to explain the movie to me, and I think if you lean more towards Robert Pattinson's character, you'll probably understand a little bit more.
I don't even consider Robert Pattinson his co-star. I consider the blonde chick his co-star, though. Like in terms of like co-lead.
First of all, chemistry that didn't work.
I think it's supposed to be really like a romance, though.
He and Elizabeth Debicki, I think is her name.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling that.
There was supposed to be a romance, though.
But there was also supposed to be chemistry, and that didn't work.
I didn't really get the chemistry, so I agree that it didn't work.
And the last thing I'll say about this movie is a lot of reasons why you may be confused is because, and a lot of other critics and people who reviewed this movie have all said the same thing. This movie is very loud.
Just like audio?
It's loud visually, it's loud audibly, and there are moments where you literally cannot hear what people are saying. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you may be a little confused sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, I don't know who did the sound engineering or sound editing, whatever. Maybe Christopher Nolan, this is his thing, because I mean, he also had Bane in the third Batman movie, and you could barely make out what he was saying. So maybe he just likes obscuring people's voices now. I don't know if that's his thing now.
That was like the one thing I said after seeing it. So, okay. So first of all, for context, I'm like not technically half deaf, but like a little bit half deaf. I always watch things with captions on. Like if I don't have captions on, I don't know what anybody's saying. And for this movie in particular,
You're going to need the captions.
Yes, and I watched it in an extremely socially distanced theater. By the way, I was like one of the only people in there, but the like from the very beginning, it just threw me off not even having captions because I was like, okay, it takes place all around the world, so there's all different kinds of accents going on, and I would say everybody's accent except like English and American was easy to understand. So when he was talking to people with an Indian accent, I was perfectly fine. I could understand every word. Like everything except American and English accents were clear. And then those with like American and English accents to me were like frequently distorted, whether it was distorted by outside noise, helicopter, just like there's a moment where they're talking like on a radio transmitter, and it stood out to me because they're talking on it was when they're on the boat. We're talking on a radio transmitter, and there was this heavy like feedback from it, and I'm just so used to, and I didn't realize I was used to like you'll sometimes see people start talking on like a walkie-talkie radio transmitter. There's feedback at first, and then through the magic of post, it just kind of like fades away. So it's just there at the beginning of the conversation to let you know it's like walkie-talkie. And in this movie, it stays the whole time. And there are at least 2 points in the movie where one character asks another character to repeat something because they can't hear. So I started to think that maybe it's intentional because in like, I would agree that the plot of the movie is overly complicated, because I was able to at least track like the vibes of the movie and be on the edge of my seat without knowing what's going on. And I'm wondering if they do the same with like vocals. Like they just literally make it hard to hear as just another way to like distort.
And that's what I'm saying. Like his scenes are very loud in this movie, and not just audibly, but like visually very loud. And so if you were in the moment, like literally, if you were a character in the moment of these scenes, you probably wouldn't be able to comprehend everything that was happening audibly as well, because it's just so, explosions going on, gunshots going on, helicopters, airplanes, things are just so busy. And so
like
maybe
the train scene at the beginning.
Yeah,
the train scene, there's like trains in the background going 2 different directions, which is already like throwing you off, but it plays into this idea that like time direction is always switching. But the trains in the background I noticed were like red and white. And I'm so used to seeing trains be like green or blue, or just things that don't grab your attention, especially if they're in the background of something. I would expect like the vibe of a train, but not like in your face, like red train. And it was really hard to focus on the main, not the main character, but like the guy who was talking to him.
Yeah.
Because he was like standing there between these trains that are like loudly flashing red, black, and white. I don't know.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I mean, it's still a good movie to watch. There's definitely a story there that's, I wouldn't say is overly complicated. They definitely spell it out to you towards the end. But
do they?
The
to whom are they spelling it out?
They're spelling out the purpose of the movie towards the middle to the end.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like they're throwing all these pieces of a puzzle at you that are just kind of slightly disjointed, and you're just like, wait, is that supposed to go there? Is that supposed to go here? Or is this piece supposed to go here? It's like, shut up and just sit back and watch it.
The purpose of the movie is look how long Elizabeth Debicki's legs are.
First of all, you should see how long her neck is.
She's 6'3".
I would climb that woman all day, first of all. That's just me
Whomst
personally.
among us wouldn't? Let's be honest. Anyways, I'm really excited to hear what Kate thinks about the movie when you promise to go see it, right?
I will watch it. I will watch it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I will watch it. But you asked me like Monday. I was like, yeah, sure, I can watch it. Sure.
She's like, I'm in the middle of like finals and like a lot of things I'm studying.
Nope, drop everything you're doing.
5 group projects I'm doing all by myself. Studying, like a really important field. And
nope, go drop everything you're doing. Watch Tenet, get confused.
No, well, I'll watch it. It sounds interesting.
It is.
It is. I was literally like, when I say on the edge of my seat, I mean quite literally. I was like, I can't demonstrate right now because I have a cat sleeping on my lap, but like knees up, like arms around my knees like this, perched on the edge of my seat, like leaning forward in what is, for all intents and purposes, like a fully empty theater, staring at this screen, like looking so enraptured, and like gun to my head, I couldn't tell you the plot line in that moment. I was just like so into it, no idea what's going on.
Just wait till she makes a third act.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, Kate, we already took 26 minutes straight, which is just like an unfair amount to take considering how much you need to educate us on what's going on in Jane Austen world. So I'm passing the talking stick to you, and I would like you to tell us what's going on in Jane Austen world, what is coming out, and what should we and should we not be watching.
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago it was announced that they were making that remaking Persuasion. Great relief. They haven't made another one of those in a very long time. I feel like it kind of needed an update. And that looks promising. We're excited about that. Great news. Woo. About a week ago, the CW made an interesting announcement saying they were going to do this modern anthology series. They're going to start with Pride and Prejudice, and the first article I read was just going to be a modern anthology rewrite of
taking over this
her different novels.
Okay, thanks.
I don't have headphones now.
Rips. Okay, continue. Sorry, I just needed to be the center of attention.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. In character.
And then, so now the modern CW version, they've kind of added some information about it. And
the word sexify was used, and I've not known peace since.
Ooh, okay. So I had this torment originally. I don't know if you watched Sanditon that came out last year.
Mm-mm.
When they first announced it, that was a similar term they used. They threw that term around. It was very terrifying. I was nervous. I was horrified, to be perfectly honest. With that one, there's more of that kind of stuff than would normally be in a Jane Austen novel. There's a lot of discussion about how it's a beautiful Regency piece. There's a lot of Jane Austen-esque character development. But the problem is there's some certain things in it that make it very not Jane Austen.
Okay. More than just the sex?
More than just the sex. First of all, it doesn't end like all other Jane Austen novels,
Oof.
Which is upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
But because it was a Sanditon, so Sanditon was her last novel she was still writing. She didn't finish it. So there's tons and tons of diversions where people have presumed how it would finish, and they just kind of took influence of that and made a TV show. The problem is they had a lot more focus on the villains than they normally do with Jane Austen. They made the villain, and you know how in villains, even like the worst of the worst, there is still some shred of humanity in them. There were a couple characters in Sanditon that were just truly awful.
Mm-hmm.
There was not much relieving about them, and so that was odd. The fact that it was basically just Darcy and Elizabeth over again, really, there wasn't much difference between the characters. It felt very much like he was Darcy and she was Elizabeth, just like maybe throwing a little Marianne just to spice things up, and that was it. And it was because of that, there's a lot of frustration with how they did that, along with the sexification.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it was still good. And I could appreciate it because even though it was technically based on Jane Austen, it wasn't based on a full story of hers. They were just kind of using the place as a
the
building
setting,
block.
the time, the vibe.
The setting, yeah. Giving some characters just foundation.
Mm-hmm.
When they're making a modern adaptation of a Jane Austen story, you're basically saying, we're going to take this story and we're going to try to make it as much the same story, just in a modern setting. So doing the opposite almost. Taking the core of the story, the ideas that we're trying to present, and putting it on a different foundation of setting of what the characters look like, of things like that. When you look at something like Lizzie Bennet Diaries, that was done really successfully. I would argue there's some changes that they had to make with characters, but the idea that other than there was, of course, like if you have seen it, how the story with Lydia involved a sex tape,
right?
But it's not explicit, and it's kind of talked about more as like it's a modern kind of problem that was as similar to her actual problem as they could get.
There's sex, there's drugs, there's revenge porn, there's all of it. Yep.
Yeah, but it's not like we're watching sex happen. It's not like we're talking about lust over love or anything like that.
But it was keeping with the original story, because the whole thing with the original story is that I'm really struggling with not being the center of attention. Okay, I'm better now. It's fine. It's in the original story, everything with Lydia and Wickham's relationship is fraught with lying tied to sex and, you know, unfair romantic choices and all of that. So translating that to something where like he's trying to sell revenge porn online or whatever is still in keeping with Wickham's character. I think if you had Elizabeth and Darcy's relationship wrought with sex, like that's just not, like you can use those characters' names and it is still not the same thing. There is an intentional distance that is physical, mental, and emotional when it comes to Darcy and Elizabeth that I am just so not convinced that you could try to sexify these characters. And by the way, okay, I'm moving this even further. By the way, you're fine. You're forced to listen.
You're not in the camera anymore.
Okay, here's the thing. I know what they're trying to say when they're talking about this being like an anthology of Jane Austen characters. They're trying to once upon a time this, and they're trying to make all Jane Austen characters meet each other across novels. They haven't said that, but I know that's what they're doing. So what they're eventually trying to do is put us in a position where you have like Emma and Mr. Darcy meeting each other, and what then? And you have, you know, Lizzie meeting, what's his name? I don't know. Forget all the guys in the Jane Austen books, but you get what I'm saying. That's what they're trying to do. I know that for a fact, and I won't stand for it, but I will watch it. I will definitely.
I hadn't even thought of that. Because
I don't want to speak evil into existence, but I know it's already
myself, there. And I don't think evil thoughts. Okay, I already wanted to put my head through a wall before talking to you. Why would you make me think that, Cammie?
I do nothing but make people want to put their head through a wall. So it's what I lack in quality, I make up for in consistency. I know. Life is hard. Seth agrees. Seth, are you gonna watch and review?
Hell no. Although I heard that, is this the show that they were casting a black woman for maybe one character or something? And people were like, "Rah."
I think you're thinking it's also a period piece, but it's not fiction. It's
this is a like royalty something.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Forget about that.
No. The one that she was cast in, you know who I'm talking about, Kate?
No.
It was it's like one of Henry VIII's wives.
I can't think of anything Henry VIII. The only thing I can think of kind of like that was
it's a historical figure, and he has like one woman he really loves that he married, and then there's like a whole bunch of others, and I think he like kills her sister or something.
I'm looking this up.
She's an engineer, not a historian.
You're right.
Oh, well.
The show is one long series of me expecting Kate to know the answer to everything.
The things I do know, I honestly don't know why I know them. I don't know. I don't know which movie you're talking about. Sorry.
If anyone was wondering, you're still seeing the screen split 50-50, but I changed the layout only on what I see to show me larger, just so I stop trying to lean over everybody else. So the rest of the world is seeing a 50-50 split, and I'm just seeing my face larger. It's a problem, but I do what I need to do.
How do you identify that you have a problem?
I do, and I don't do anything to solve it, but I identify.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we go further than just admitting?
The first step is identifying the problem. There's no steps after that.
We've been identifying a problem for like 10 years now.
Nothing beyond identification. That's we identified. Good job. Everybody gets a cookie.
Moving on.
Gold star.
Thank you.
What's next?
What else do we have in Jane Austen world?
Okay, so then there's, I think it's in December, but I'm not sure. There's a modern adaptation of Persuasion coming out. It looks very Hallmarky. It looks kind of
You
but
had
it
me at
also looks
Hallmarky
fun. Like, it looks fun. So Hallmark has tons and tons of Pride and Prejudice modern adaptation. There's some with dogs. There's one called Sense or Sensibility, but it's something about perfume or something like that.
That's cute.
So it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be fine.
You get it, Kate, because it's a pun. Get it?
I got it. Oh my gosh! Wow.
You're gonna be such a good engineer, Kate.
Thanks. Thanks. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what you're trying to say there.
I'm saying you're smart.
Oh. Thanks. I thought you were trying to say I'm smart ass, which I know that too.
Oh no, but that's kind of a necessity being around me. Okay. Maybe this will be better if I'm taller. Elizabeth Debicki has a few inches to spare. Speaking of Elizabeth Debicki, real quick, just wanted to jump in the chat. Carrie said, did they make Tenet pre-COVID expecting to make big bucks on rewatches because no one understands it? They did make it pre-COVID, so I'm going to assume it's a yes. Confirm?
Yeah.
That's a yes.
Well, Tenet was supposed to be the movie to bring people back to the theaters because it's Christopher Nolan, it's big names, it's a blockbuster, and they were like, get your butts in the seats. And people were like, nah, I'm good.
We're like, is Christopher Nolan worth dying over?
No,
okay. No. They should have just released it to digital streaming like back in June when it was supposed to come out and just charge like mad bucks for it.
Well, they were kind of backed into a corner. I think it was just announced that Wonder Woman is going to go on streaming, and then
Christmas Day, right?
I didn't see the date, but I know they're going to do it streaming, and then they're going to do it in the theaters later.
That's cute.
So, you got to do what you got to do. So, I was of the mind that no movie should have come out in theaters this year. But, people wanted to, capitalism is going to capitalism. So people are going to try. So
they're like, you want to live, but do you more want to give us money to fund this industry?
Right.
I mean, like, it's weird, like, movie thing. I never saw it, but there was a Trolls movie, like the sequel to the Trolls movie that came out
the one that had like a million big names.
Yeah, well, it had a million big names, and it also apparently shook up how people were looking at how they were distributing movies over COVID, and like a whole bunch of film companies had to have a conversation based on the Trolls movie doing so well over streaming services.
I mean, it was not necessarily the test case, but it was a test case, and so people were kind of, they feel like we needed to hedge our bets or maybe just reconsider what we're trying to do with Hollywood right now. So even film production companies, like they were trying to figure out when they should, bring their teams back to continue filming movies and whatnot over the summer. So that's been hit or miss as well. It's just been about, does most of our crew have COVID or not? All right, we got to shut down production.
Despite the cast of Riverdale gargling with mouthwash before doing kissing scenes,
that
somehow
video
COVID still got transmitted. I don't know how.
That was awkward to watch.
Yeah.
And you watch Riverdale, and
I do.
that was still awkward to watch.
Okay, but the last season of Riverdale was really good, you guys. It was really good. Did I watch it with quarantine mind rot set in? Yes. It was also really good, though.
I like that term.
Quarantine
I like
mind
that.
rot. The longer I'm in
Good.
quarantine, the more my standards drop for what I watch. So right now, I'm like really into The Bachelorette, but like by next week, I'll be like, so I started watching Big Brother.
You mentioned that, and I'm really trying to steer you in the right direction. Don't do that to yourself.
You're doing the Lord's work, Kate, and you're fighting a losing battle, but you're fighting it so
I know.
well.
I know I'm fighting a losing battle. I know you.
What's gonna happen is I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll watch this like really good, smart piece or whatever if you watch just a couple episodes of like Married at First Sight.
I feel like out of any of your shows, the reality TV, I could watch Married at First Sight. I try. I really did try with The
That's the first
Bachelor
step. That's the slippery
and The
slope.
Bachelorette. I tried, and I could not do it.
Okay, but have you considered this Bachelorette? She's so cute. I love her.
I mean, I saw the announcement, and you did tell me that you loved her after the first episode. Still, the
She's
problem
so
is
good.
I could not take it.
None of the men are worthy of her, but it literally doesn't matter. She's very good at being the Bachelorette. She's very good at like basically directing the show. She's cute and like actually listens to them and like gets them to open up. It's very nice. It's a welcome change after Claire. I'm pleased. Watch The Bachelorette. What's the worst that could happen? We're in COVID. Just watch it and claim you didn't. I'm going to make him watch The Bachelorette.
I'm sorry.
There will be alcohol involved.
You don't.
Let me tell you how I get people to watch these bullshit shows. So he showed up at my house for dinner so we could all like, were we going to play board games or were you going to be on a live stream? I don't remember what.
Forgot.
And it wasn't until he got there that I was like, guess what? It's the finale of The Bachelor. You and Peter are going to sit down and watch The Bachelor with me. And they were both like, oh my God.
There was alcohol involved.
There was. That's a necessity. And guess what's going to happen for the Bachelorette finale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have that power over me yet, so no.
Kate, come to my house for no specific reason, but on a specific Tuesday night in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll come over and then I'll just hide or something. I don't know.
Just like I pretend I do not see it.
Mm-hmm.
I pretend it's not there.
Real quick, I will also mention, just because I have the picture downloaded, in the reasons why I hate Kevin this week, and this is pertaining to This Is Us, which is the show that's on screen. For context, this is a show that I don't talk about extensively because I only like Beth and Randall, but because I hate Justin Hartley, who you may remember as
Green Arrow.
the old Green Arrow.
Yeah.
On this show, his character is so hateable and is essentially supposed to be like an equal one of three protagonists.
That's so sad because you told me about dude, and I was just like, oh man.
You know what I found out this week though? His
What?
ex-wife, the one that he broke up via text, used to date Matthew Morrison, who played Mr. Shu on Glee.
So I didn't watch Glee,
Curly hair,
but I know
teacher
it was.
who
I
like
know it was a show.
tried to rap. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, me either. I'm lost.
Kevin this week. Okay, so for context, Kevin on the show, Kevin's the fictional character. We hate Justin Hartley too, but we hate Kevin, the fictional character. Here in Salty's Cammie's Corner, I should probably mention that Kevin is an actor on the show. Kevin's not just any actor. Kevin's supposed to be a big name actor doing big blockbuster films, was in consideration to be the next Batman, God forbid. Like, just like way above Mr. Hartley's pay grade type of thing. So this season, the big thing, the big whatever, is that he's in consideration to play like a lawyer or cop or some shit in some like big new blockbuster film with this top name director that would basically be the equivalent of like a Christopher Nolan type. It's supposed to be the movie of the year, and he's in consideration, whatever. So you make it to this week's episode. This week's episode, he has it like all in the bag. All he needs is one good meeting with the director, right? Mm-hmm. They've already cast the chick who's supposed to like play his counterpart, and so it's he and her are basically, it's supposed to look like a chemistry read basically, but the scene that they're reading from is like slightly confrontational. It kind of looks like a police interrogation scene. It's not like a romantic scene. So he's meeting with this director. They sit down and they're doing this read. And they get to a part in the read where there's just like a lot of dialogue back and forth. And she says something like, okay, to be honest, blah, blah, blah. And his character is supposed to interrupt hers and be like, oh, whenever somebody says to be honest, that means they're also. Anyways, so he's doing this and the director interrupts him, I think a total of 3 times to have him say the line again. And the first time he's a little thrown off, the second time he's a little irritated, and the third time he kind of like snaps at the director and is like, oh, I would stay in the scene if you could. And he's like throwing a fit over this. And then he has this like sobby, like somebody tell me I'm a good boy moment afterwards with the director being like, you interrupted me, but I didn't get any feedback. And then he's like calling his sister on the ride home. And he's like, oh, it was so hard for me. Like life is so hard for all 3 of us. For context, the things that he's comparing his life like struggles with is a sister who is in the process of adopting a child while her first child is blind, and she's going through like a ton of health problems and is revisiting some like assault stuff from when she was younger, and his brother who is a Black councilman in Philadelphia during COVID, handling like multiple like racial and public health issues. Okay. That's what he is comparing. His director interrupted me 3 times during a chemistry read. So clearly I'm doing something wrong. Do you understand during a table read, like even just for like a TV show or something, you get interrupted constantly. Like you don't just get to do read throughs. You get notes. You're an actor, you're not. Oh, it was so insufferable. I literally, like, I'm watching it angry, but I was also like, they gave me this as a gift because they knew I needed something to bring to, like, Salty Cammie's Corner, and this was it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. This is why we hate Kevin.
Sounds like the same reason we hated Kevin last week.
It is the same reason we hated Kevin last week. Different scenes, same reason.
Very consistent.
Okay.
Sounds like.
What I lack in quality, I make up for inconsistency. All right. Well, now it is time to pass the talking stick to the final part of our show, where Seth is going to tell us what we should be watching instead of the CW sexified version of Pride and Prejudice. Go. And I'm even going to like lean back and let you take center of attention.
Where's center? Where are we?
The center should be like
this
there.
way. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll just scoot over here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
All right. So, real quick. I peeked in. Apparently, my wife's just watching a bunch of Netflix shows without me and not telling me what's happening. So apparently, Queen's Gambit is a thing. Anya Taylor-Joy is a person. She's an actor to look at.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. Apparently, she's like Argentine.
She is. Her first language is Spanish.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
And she lived like in Spain, Britain, and America for years. So she has a really unique accent.
She's very well traveled.
She moved from Argentina to London, and she was like 6 or 7 years old. And then she refused to learn English for 2 or 3 years because she thought if she refused to learn English, they'd let her move back. And she didn't want to be friends with the people in London.
All right. But yeah, Queen's Gambit. I'm hearing some good things about it. I'm gonna go check it out. Apparently, my wife's gonna finish it before me, but whatever. We'll circle back to that. She also watched Jingle Jangle: A Christmas
I've
Journey.
heard so much about that. Did she like it?
I think she did. I just heard it while she was looking at it, and I kind of peeked in.
I need a
And
Christmas show to watch.
that movie is very colorful. Um, the singing is amazing. The little girl can blow.
Nice.
She's gonna do some stuff. That's. I was feeling that song. Like my daughter was like spinning, doing twirling with her hand over her head. She does that, by the way, when she hears music that she likes. And I was just like, must be a good song. Yeah. My 1-year-old is a musical critic. If she dances, she loves it.
She's right, and she should say it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a thing. You should circle back to Lovecraft Country.
What is that? What's the genre?
I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
Lovecraft Country is. I'm not gonna say is not for everyone, but you should keep an open mind as you're watching it. It is a take. First of all, it's an adaptation of a book that was written a few years ago, and basically, it's if you know anything about H.P. Lovecraft, he did the horror genre and whatnot with his creatures and everything, and it's become very popular Lovecraftian horror genre. But H.P. Lovecraft was also racist. So I think the author of this book, I haven't actually read the book, but I could see some notes in it within the show. It's like basically the uh, author kind of flipped some stuff on his head. It was like, we're going to have black protagonists and it's going to be centered around black people who are fighting off certain horrors in the 1950s. So not just racism and whatnot, but there are actual monsters that they have to fight as well. Okay. So the easiest way to explain the show is mostly every episode is a different genre between horror, between sci-fi, like literal sci-fi, like Star Trek sci-fi.
Same characters in a different genre, or like an anthology?
It's literally the same characters going through the same story, but every episode there are different things happening to them, which will present a different genre. So one episode is literally like Indiana Jones. Okay. Like they are traveling through a tomb and going through a cave and looking at a map. This was on HBO.
Okay.
Another episode, there's a haunted house, so they have to fight ghosts or figure out what's going on, how to get rid of the ghosts. Another episode, there is the easiest way to describe it is Afrofuturism. This is centered around a black female character within the show, and she is jutted to the future, and she's able to time travel, and there's magic involved. So it's literally taking you across all these different genres, but centered around a black family. And I think
it
overall,
so good.
Yeah, overall the story was good. I would just say there were a number of things as far as execution that wasn't really sitting well with me. As far as the overall plot itself, I feel like the plot itself was kind of weak, but I liked the adventures that they were going on to get to where they were going. Like every episode was I think every episode was something I can cling to. That was like that was done very well. Whether it was cinematic or whether it was the elements that they were throwing into it. And so you have to, like I said, keep an open mind and just be willing to maybe listen to what's happening, visually see what's happening, and maybe do a little bit of research afterwards. There was a lot of stuff thrown in from like Uncle Tom's Cabin, things that conversations that black families have that you probably don't see on TV in the midst of horror and sci-fi. So I think it was an ambitious project. I would put it like that. And I think a lot of it was done very well.
Is it one closed season or are there multiple seasons?
It has not been picked up for a second season yet, but it's open for another season.
Okay.
You could say that the way it ended, you could say that was a not satisfying ending, but it ended.
Okay.
And you can see where it can continue going, or you can just say, okay, I'm fine with it stopping here.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, it's about 10 episodes, I believe.
I had heard of the show, but I didn't even know what genre it is or what the plot or hook of it was.
Yeah. I'm not gonna try to convince people to watch The Boys, but The Boys is a show on
Is
Amazon Prime.
who's in that?
This is
I
Carl
watched the
Urban.
first season.
You
Yeah, you
watched the
watched the
first
first
season?
season?
Yeah, I haven't watched the second season. I watched the first season so far.
Yeah. I would definitely say that the second season picked up in a direction that I can appreciate. Um, and a lot of people who, I won't say a lot of people, uh, I think that some people look at this show in a very shallow nature and just look at it as another superhero show because we're in the age of superhero media. But I think there are a lot of statements that this show is making about culture, about capitalism, about the way we view society as well. That this show definitely hits on very well, and that tends. I don't even say it gets overshadowed, but I think people just want to glob on to the superheroes within the show or the superpowered people. And I think this season was very, for the most part, very solid. Personally, I don't like most of the characters in the show.
Is it about so this is a superhero show? I don't know
Yeah.
anything about it.
So the Boys was a graphic novel from the early 2000s, I believe.
Marvel, DC, or completely separate?
Separate.
Independent.
But basically, it's the graphic novel itself is just very outlandish. Maybe as a comic book, you call it a graphic novel, but it's very outlandish, very gratuitous. Anything that you think bad could happen happens in that book.
Okay.
I'm talking about all the trigger warning words.
Mm-hmm.
And so they adapted it for TV, but Eric Kripke, who does Supernatural,
Mhm.
he was like, the team was like, yeah, all the stuff from the book can't make it to network television, and we're just going to loosely do some of these things.
Mhm.
And so I appreciate that they left a lot of those elements out and made it more grounded, and so that the outlandishness of superpowered individuals doesn't take the forefront, but it's the overall message behind what they represent is, for me, is taking the forefront that I feel like a lot of people who watch the show misses, which is very evident. I mean, it's just saying capitalism bad.
They're right, and they should say it louder.
It's not that hard. But all people want to talk about are the superheroes and whatnot. But the superheroes are the literal embodiment of capitalism.
I mean, somehow they were able to make 8 seasons of Arrow with Green Arrow, which is loosely based on Robin Hood, and not take a statement make a statement about capitalism. So you can really muddle the message if you want to.
Yeah. So I say go ahead. If you saw the first season, go ahead and watch the second season. There are some satisfying elements in there as far as the character development, if we want to call it that, and you get to learn a lot more about a lot of characters that are there from the first season, and introduce some new characters as well.
Very important question.
Yes.
Is it guaranteed to be better than CW's sexified version of Pride and Prejudice?
I'm gonna say The Boys is not for everyone.
I feel like CW's sexified Pride and Prejudice is also perhaps not for everyone.
But depending on how you can handle violence and gore and all the isms happening there as well. Some episodes are stronger than others, which kept me entertained, kept me going, and I would probably watch this season again before I watch Pride and Prejudice.
Fair enough.
And I don't rewatch most things, so
I don't rewatch most things either.
Yeah.
You know what I would rewatch though?
What's that?
The Queen's Gambit. That is an excellent show. You should watch it.
I should watch it.
Yes.
I just want to give a little shout out. I know I've been kind of going kind of long. The Mandalorian has just started season 2,
which has Katie Sackhoff in it. I learned, and Ming-Na Wen in it.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it. I don't have Disney Plus, but I know I need to watch it. It's something it's on my to watch.
Tell us how you feel about Ming-Na Wen.
First of all, she is, I don't know what she's doing, what she's she's fine. Okay. I don't know how.
You good?
But the older she gets, the finer she gets. It doesn't make sense. Maybe it does. Sure.
She is
whatever she has.
a physical reality.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like Disney technology or Marvel technology or whatever it is, but yeah, I thought after Agents of Shield she hit her prime and she was just like, nope, I'm in Star Wars and I'm still looking good.
She
And I was
said,
like,
"You really thought?"
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so far, and I'm gonna say this: I'm not even the biggest Star Wars fan. I don't consume a lot of Star Wars media, but I've held on to the Mandalorian because it's Star Wars in the way that I want it. It's just small little chunks of Star Wars, not a big grandiose story, and I'm fine with that. And that's how I like my Star Wars, and I didn't know it until I watched the Mandalorian. So check that out, people, whenever you get a chance. And that's pretty much it.
I just pulled your headphone out again on accident,
It's fine.
but it's for good reason.
Yeah.
It was to check Carrie's comments.
Yeah.
He says, Wonder to answer your comment about Wonder Woman, he says Wonder Woman will stream and get theater release the same day, December 25th.
That's awkward.
And Carrie also says he wants to know if I hated Kevin before I hated Justin Hartley. Yes, I did hate Kevin before I hated Justin Hartley. I hated Kevin as a character right when I first started watching This Is Us. And then in this latest quarantine mind rot situation, I watched Selling Sunsets. And after that, I hated Justin Hartley. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please continue. I just wanted to make sure you had a chance to get Carrie's comments.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Thanks for the update on Wonder Woman. I'll wait. I'll figure out a way to watch it. Maybe I think I have HBO Max. I don't know. I don't remember.
Is that what it'll be streaming on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that kind of threw me off a little bit.
I did.
Because I wanted to. It's making me think about Snyder and Justice League, and I shouldn't be thinking about that.
You were in your happy Star Wars world explaining why Mandalorian fit the niche of what you were interested in for Star Wars.
Yeah, just plain and simple. It's just Star Wars in the way that I like it. It's just very small storytelling, almost like an RPG role playing game where he goes and does this mission, but there's still an underlying plot, and there's a different mission every episode. And the very last thing I would say is, have you seen New Mutants?
No, but I've heard that I would like it. Would I like it?
No. Who said you would like New Mutants?
Somebody on Twitter.
First of all, New Mutants is not a good.
Who was it? If it's Carrie, did you tell me to watch New Mutants?
New Mutants is not even a good movie. Do you have enemies?
Yes. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. No,
okay.
To be clear. But somebody told me on Twitter to watch New Mutants.
Okay.
Within the last 2 months, I want to say.
I saw New Mutants in an empty theater. I was at the very top, and there was a couple at the very bottom. So it was whatever. And I just wanted to see what the hubbub. I had a free movie ticket basically. I paid like 85 cents to go see this.
The degree to which you disavowed any interest in New Mutants. You're like, I hated it. Anybody that tells you to watch it is your enemy. I didn't pay for tickets. I was barely in the theater. I watched from the parking lot. I closed my eyes for most of it.
you New Mutants could have. I don't even know what it was trying to do. I can't even say
I
what.
just love that you brought it up and you were suggesting it, and then you were immediately like aghast that you would recommend it to Cammie.
Let me put this on the list of shows I want to recommend. How dare you associate my name with this?
Would I recommend watching this over Pride and Prejudice? Yes.
Okay.
However,
just any Pride and Prejudice or the CW's Pride and Prejudice?
The CW's Pride and Prejudice.
Fair. Okay. That was a good answer.
Yes.
Whether you meant it or not, that was a really good answer.
Nice save.
Because at the end of the day, Anya Taylor-Joy is in it.
You're right.
I don't know what these characters were trying to do. I don't know what direction they were given. And I don't even know what the overall plot of this movie was supposed to be. And I just say just watch it just to get it out your system. If you have to watch every Fox Marvel movie, this is the last one. So go ahead and get it out your system. I won't say it's a bad or terrible movie. It just does nothing.
I won't say it's a bad movie,
It-
but
but
I don't want my
Okay.
name in a sentence with it ever.
but the movie does nothing. Like
Anya
it's
Taylor-Joy is in it.
it's five
Like,
kids
how
going.
much more would you ask for?
It's well, she's literally playing the bitch and in this movie, and that was
Okay, now
and
I'm
that
even
was
more sold.
that
Tell
was
me more.
that was
I
literally
was
all
about
the
to say that
direction.
didn't do anything.
But that was literally all the direction they gave her.
Yeah, that's great. Sign
And
me up
so-
for a whole 2 hours of that.
And so I was just like, this movie's about five kids going to therapy, and I feel like I'm in therapy with them, but I'm not getting anything out of it.
Every single thing that comes out of your mouth sells me more on this movie.
But yeah, the plot's not even confusing. It's not terrible or anything. It's
That
just
sounds great.
It's just weak. It's just weak. That's all I
That's
gotta
fine.
say. It's just weak.
Me too. Okay. Carrie says, a show I'm watching is Swamp Thing. I wish the CW could find money for a season 2. It looks and feels so good and great cast. Carrie, that was the one
Yeah.
you were telling us about. a
So
couple of
yeah,
seasons.
Yeah,
so
you mentioned that.
You've seen it?
no, you can talk about it.
Kate, have you seen Swamp Thing?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. So I did not watch Swamp Thing because someone in DC Warner Brothers doesn't know how to budget, and therefore there would not be another season of Swamp Thing.
Like it got canceled before it was like finished releasing or something.
It
right?
got canceled before they finished filming or editing.
And then they like released it when like COVID hit. Is that
that has
the
nothing to
one-
do with it.
that's
But
the one that's the one that came out after COVID hit, right? They released
can't
new
say for-
episodes of it or something?
no, they're
I think
basically
it did come out after COVID, but I don't think that's the reason why it got canceled. I think it was already canceled before.
Yeah. It came out near the same time as Titans season 2 did. But basically, there was an accounting error because they were supposed to be getting tax credits, and someone didn't move the decimal over that way,
Oh,
and so they
no.
didn't have the budget to really do to finish up the season, and they were like, yeah, so we're shutting down production, and this isn't getting to season 2, and so it premiered on DC streaming app, which rest in peace. I've been telling you for 2 or 3 years not to get that, and
I didn't get it.
good job, good on you. You finally listened to me.
Occasionally.
One thing, okay, cool. And then it moved to basically air those same episodes on the CW, just like Stargirl.
That's what it was. Okay.
Stargirl.
Another show that I watched during quarantine.
So I thought about watching Stargirl, and
You
then
told me to watch Stargirl.
because I knew that you would like it,
and I did.
and
Very much.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I said this show is not for me,
Right.
and I stopped watching it.
And I picked it up from there.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought it was great. Like for a CW superhero show.
Well, it wasn't a CW superhero show. It was a
Okay.
DC streaming service show.
There was just like strong CW energy.
And then
I also watched it on the CW app, I feel as if.
probably so, but they moved it to the CW.
You
and
can't
season
tell
2,
me that like
season 2
blonde girl
will be.
with ringlet curls
Uh-huh.
with what's the line from Cat Grant? You look like a
you look like a
ambiguous,
racially diverse cast from a CW show.
yet racially
Yeah.
diverse yet non-threatening cast of a CW
Yeah,
show. Who are you? That was
non-threatening.
like literally Stargirl.
Yeah, that's their formula.
Yeah.
Yeah. But season 2 will be basically picked up by the CW, and
A Stargirl?
yeah,
Okay.
they're going to be handling it.
So it came home to the CW and knew
Basically.
where it belonged.
Basically,
They're like, we didn't make it, but that's still our responsibility.
right.
The one thing I will say about Stargirl is, so I really don't like her dad because her dad was like this stereotype that I really didn't like of like the kind of yeehaw bumbling, like I don't think much, but
The dad or
I'm-
stepdad?
her stepdad.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, I guess he's her stepdad because her real dad is Starman, but definitely not Starman. So her stepdad was just like, I get that he was supposed to be a good guy, and I kind of warmed up to him in the end, but I really don't like changing my mind. And since I didn't like him in the beginning, it was really hard for me to warm up to him in the end when it was like really obvious that he's like, no, like he's really supposed to be the good guy. Like, we don't care if you find him annoying. He's really supposed to be the good guy. It was just like there was too much of the like bumbling fool archetype to him that I was just like, ugh, really?
Mhm.
And then her mom and the villain guy had really good chemistry. So I was like, are they going to try to do something really advanced where like it's an evil stepdad, like Disney style, like evil, you know, like the evil stepmom, but it's the evil stepdad type of thing. And he's actually going to end up being bad. And then the villain's going to end it. No. It's just a waste of chemistry. It's fine though. They didn't ask me. It's okay.
So I will say, Stargirl season 2 is supposed to be bringing in a character called Jakeem Thunder.
The what now?
His name is Jakeem Thunder,
Okay.
which in our mind on the Slander Squad side should have been a character on Black Lightning because he was part of the Black Lightning Outsiders crew.
Is
So
Stargirl
for-
trying to get like a pity crossover with Black Lightning?
I have no clue, but I feel like the character would have been better. I haven't even watched more episodes of Stargirl, but I feel like the character would have been better served on Black Lightning. But DC, you get what you get.
Yeah. CW.
Yeah.
Stargirl was like, gimme. Is this for me?
Because we all know that
Is this for me?
the
Yeah.
crossovers are the best answer to plot choices.
My favorite thing about the DC CW universe is how much the Black Lightning cast does not want to do crossovers at any point. Like everybody, Green Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends, they'll be like, crossover, it's Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year. You got the Black Lightning.
I
and
feel
they're
like they season
okay, we're drawing
7.
straws for which one of us has to go over. Not it, no
I feel like by
straws.
season 7 of Arrow, everybody's like starting to tune into, oh, this isn't good. This is why are we still doing this?
Emily
And I
Benn's like,
feel like
I've
Black
crossed over
Light-
5 times this season alone. Like,
She's literally
Yeah.
carrying all the crossovers.
yes.
Yes. And then I feel like Black Lightning cast was like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Like, I have a thing at a place at a time. What I
No.
don't want to do is go fight King Shark. So
It's like, you want me to fly to Canada to do what now?
I don't want Budget Thanos to tell me that I have to die.
I'm budget
For-
Thanos. That was fair.
Honestly.
Well, I have a long list of shows now to watch in place of the CW's sexified Pride and Prejudice.
The
And
Magicians. Watch The Magicians.
That list of shows is The Magicians and the entire filmography from Anya Taylor-Joy, which I think the only one I pretty much haven't watched is New Mutants and The Witches. Or The Witch. What was it?
She in it?
The Witch? Yeah. That was
Oh,
like
the movie. Okay.
That was like
yeah,
the
yeah.
breakout role.
Gotcha.
For her.
Yeah.
I think it's like a horror film or something. I have seen her in that M. Night Shyamalan kind of series. What is this? It was so good. Okay, sorry. I need to stop before I go even further overtime and accidentally yank this headphone out of my ear for the 15th time. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Twitter, I guess. I don't know.
What a
don't.
good pitch.
Yeah.
I will put Kate's Twitter in the description on YouTube since YouTube's actually working this week. This is actually going to get saved on YouTube for those watching later.
Cool. You can find me with the rest of the Slander Squad on YouTube at Slander ENT. We do movie and TV show reviews. Of course, this season there were no TV shows really, so
There were just no TV shows.
there was no TV.
No.
So we were just kind of taking it as it is. But check out some of our reviews. I'm just gonna say this here: we're going to be switching up things in 2021, and it might include no more reviews. We're going to be trying something different, so bear with us.
Gasp.
Yeah,
You heard it here first.
because CW has nothing for us besides Black Lightning.
Have you considered
I have not. So
doing?
I know you were going to say.
I was gonna say,
I saw it in your
and our
eyes.
electricity
You're
is
like,
cut, stream feed ends. We interrupt this broadcast.
no.
All right.
No.
Well, I will leave that as is. You know, it is what it is, and we will talk to you guys later.